Hi, Emily. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm really looking forward. It's so good to just see you again since the program and to talk with you. So let's jump right in. Tell me a bit about just your life and your career before you joined FYFC.
It was, it was, I don't know. On paper, it was a really good job. So
Mm,
it paid well, and the
hmm
title was really good. And my friends and family, they are like envy me in a way.
hmm
But I, I didn't feel satisfied,
mm,
and I always feel like there's a part of my life or part of my job is missing, and I
mm,
didn't know what that is. I mean,
hmm
I got money, I have a good colleagues, a very good manager, but I still feel like there's something missing. And I want to find what that was.
hmm
So then I saw you on Instagram and I say to myself, okay, why not give myself a chance to explore a bit. Yes.
And I think one thing I remember from back when we did your enrollment call, I think I remember you talking a bit about your parents and how you were sort of nervous about going through this process because of what they would say or what they would think. And so that was a concern of yours. Is that correct?
Yes. Like I said, my parents, my families, they think, oh, you have a good job. So
Mm-hmm.
what's wrong with that? I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's wrong with that. I just don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I was also very nervous about telling them I want to pivot my career or I want to take a break because I think deep down I was afraid that they would be disappointed with me
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because they think, oh, you already have something good, why are you quitting it? And there's a lot of self dialogue happening in my
Mm-hmm.
mind, and I was just too afraid to like communicate with my parents. So that
Mm-hmm.
was a roadblock for me.
Yeah, yeah. And that's not abnormal. I think I told you this back then when you joined the program, where, our loved ones, their thoughts, their opinions can often be a barrier to making that transition, especially when on the surface, like you said, it looks good, right? Good on paper, the money's good, the colleague is good, there's the status. And so when you think about pivoting for the people on the outside, it's like, why would you leave a good thing for something that you don't even know? So
Yeah.
what helped you sort of, I would say, move through that fear of what your loved ones would think? What helped you kind of get over that and say, you know what, I'm going to enroll in this program anyway?
um i think I think there I think the most important part is that I saw your stories on Instagram,
Mm,
and you touched upon a few points that really resonate with me. Like you don't have to sacrifice your salary for the job you like,
mhm,
and there's many other things. And I just like, oh my God, you are speaking to me directly through stories, and I have to give it a try. So to be
mhm,
honest, at the beginning, I didn't tell my parents about I joined FYFC because I was like,
mm,
oh, they would be pissed about me, they would be disappointed with
mhm,
me. But in the program, I think the first few um, modules were about the mindsets and
mhm,
also the affirmations. And
mm,
by practicing affirmations day in, day out, it's quite magical because I started to build up confidence and courage. Then I have the courage to tell my parents, hey, this is what I'm
mhm,
thinking. I didn't like my job and I want to do something else. And you know what? They supported me. I was like,
mhm.
I prepared for a difficult conversation. But in the end, they were just like, okay. If you decide to do that, then we're here for you. It's like,
Wow.
that was it?
You're
Okay.
like, this is easier than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
I love it. Oh, I love to hear that. Awesome. Okay, so I've heard you mention, feeling that fear, feeling that worry, and it sounds like for you, some of the things that made you even consider FYFC was a lot of the content that I was sharing on
Yes.
Instagram that kind of convinced you that maybe you didn't have to sacrifice things like salary and status for fulfillment in your career. So I'm also curious, was there, because I know, okay, we got on the call, obviously, when we got on the call, were you at that point already sure that you were going to join the program, or was there something that happened on the call that helped convince you to join the program?
I think I was already like 80% sure.
Okay.
But I still need to talk to you personally to know who you really are and how was the chemistry. And I would say that discovery call was really nice. And I like the dynamic, I like the way you talk. And you're so confident, and I'm just like, oh, I want to be someone like you.
Aww,
So
thank
there's
you.
like, I'm gonna join it.
I love it. Thanks. Okay, so now, we had the conversation that convinced you, you joined.
Yeah.
What would you say? And I know you mentioned a little bit, you talked about the affirmations, and maybe that's one of it, but what particular FYFC session or activity would you say helped you the most, or like, do you remember the most from the program?
The tools, the assessment tools. You have
Okay.
so many, and I appreciate all of them. Because, when you look through like social media or just surf on the internet, you will see a lot of career related articles talking about you have to find yourself, find your passion, and know yourself. I was like, yeah, but how?
How?
I mean, yeah, I want to know myself. I want to find my why. But how? There's not many people really talk about how to find that. And what I really appreciate is that when I joined the program, I realized you didn't just like using very big words or vague words like you have to find your destiny, something like that. No, you provide tools, and those tools are really helpful. Those are surveys or I was like, okay, that's really helpful. And I feel, sometimes I already feel a bit like I have some instincts or gut feeling like I might like this, but I'm not so sure about it. But after those tools, I was like, yeah, okay, now I have the confidence to know what I'm good at or what I really like and which direction I'm heading. So I think those tools are really helpful.
I love that. And so you are one of, and I think almost every other cohort, I have someone who's in a different continent, right? So I talk about how like back when you joined the program, you were in Asia. I've had people in Europe. And so just thinking about the fact that that meant you couldn't join the live sessions, right? Because of the time difference. I think it would have been 1 a.m. your time or something like that. So you couldn't join the live sessions. And what we did was we had conversations on the side after you watched the replay. What was that experience like for you? If there's that woman who's thinking, I can't make the live sessions, so I'm not going to get the benefit, I'm not going to join, what would you say to her?
I would still encourage her to join because yes, it's a pity not to join the live call, but still by watching the replay, and then we have, I think it was WhatsApp, right, conversation. I think those are, at least those were sufficient for me because all my questions were answered on WhatsApp. And also I don't feel pressured to like talk about my problem in the group. Well, it's like I'm always a bit nervous when facing camera. So I was like, oh my God. So watching replay is really helpful for me.
Okay, great. Yeah. So back then we were using WhatsApp. We've moved to Microsoft Teams now because that also allows the voice notes, which I think was very helpful to still have that connection, even though you couldn't be there in the sessions live. Yeah. Were you about to say something?
No, that's all. Yeah.
Okay. So what would you say are your biggest wins or results from going through the program?
I think it's the confidence. Now I'm more confident about my direction. And I know exactly confidently that what I'm good at, and what I want to have, what are the factors, elements I want to have in my next role. I think those are really helpful. It's like a lighthouse. Now I have the lighthouse. I just need to go to that direction. So I think that's really helpful.
Wow. So would you say before the program, you did not have that lighthouse?
No, I didn't. And I didn't have the confidence. Like, I want to pivot. Can I do that? My parents would be mad at me. I didn't have the skill. Do I really like that? Would I regret it? So there were a lot of confusions, self-doubts, worries. Now I still have that, but those are manageable. And I just like, okay, I see there's a very clear, big, shining lighthouse, and I have the confidence. This is the way I want to go, and I'll go for it.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. I love that analogy of the lighthouse, and you know, because you talk about the confidence, which is, I think people underestimate how important that is, because you could see the lighthouse, but if you're not confident in yourself, you can stay stuck and keep looking at it. But I'm hearing you say you discovered the lighthouse, but you also discovered the confidence to walk towards the lighthouse, which I love so much. So what would you tell, so the woman out there who's watching this video, she's still trying to decide, should I join FYFC, should I not? What would you say to her?
Join it now. Take your credit card.
I love it.
And one thing, okay, I talked a lot about the tools and affirmations, and the other thing I want to add on is the group call. And those were also helpful, although I didn't join the live call, but you know, by listening to others' story, it made me realize I was not alone. And all the self-doubts, they were, I mean, those are not problems, because everyone could have that. And I shouldn't criticize myself for having those negative thoughts or self-doubts. Those were normal. And I have to say the group call really helped. I really like the setup.
Thank you for sharing that, because that is for a lot of women, that's one of their resistance is, do I want to be in a group with these strangers? And at the end of the program, I always hear, I love the group format. I'm like, I know what I was doing. So I'm really glad to hear that. And even just hearing you say the group was beneficial for you, even though you weren't there live, that was really exciting to hear. Thanks for taking the time to chat with me. Bye.
All right.
If you're tired of feeling stuck, unhappy, and unfulfilled in a career that feels like it's sucking the life out of you, but you're not sure how to make your transition or what you would do next, I invite you to apply to find your fulfilling career. FYFC is an exclusive, intimate group coaching program for the woman who is unhappy at work and ready to find a career that allows her to live on purpose and thrive in her zone of genius. If that sounds like you, visit findyourfulfillingcareer.com to submit your application today.